Connor Larson. I'm joined here today with head coach Lacey Kraft and assistant Mark Eldridge. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to do this today. Mark, what was it like at the beginning building this program? Can you walk me through what that was like in the beginning stages?
Yeah, I haven't talked about it in a while, but I think I still remember it. We had a intramural team in 1977, and that sprung into 1978 when conferences started. So we had an official team back in 1978. So we put the word out to prospective high school players, and there wasn't nearly as many high schools that offered programs then. So there wasn't a large pool of players. But we did have enough good players, and we got going and had a season and won the conference in '78. And the interest just built. And after a year or two, we saw that colleges were looking for help with their programs, and they needed junior college players. So that sprung into a lot of transfers, and then the program just built from there.
What do you think has been a part of keeping this program so successful over the last 47 years? Passing it on from coach to coach and things like that. How's the program maintained the success?
I really believe we've had some good continuity, and really great people that have been involved in the staff that either played at this level or understand what this level is about. And just like you said, it's really not just coaching turnover, but team turnover. Every single year is different at this level because half of the team is going to transfer out and move on, and a whole new half of the team is coming in. So this level is very challenging and unique in that way, but it also is what makes it really fun and exciting because every year is a different challenge.
What has it meant to have this new facility for your program?
I think we're all really pleased with this. This is a beautiful setup, and like Lacey and I had talked before about the fact that once we got kind of used to being here, I think we're still getting used to being in this facility, but we finally have a program that's synonymous with the level of our winning and our transfers. So yeah, it's just a really good fit at this point.
Finally having a stadium that, like Mark mentioned, matches the success and tradition of the program is nice. And definitely a great thing for the community and well-deserved for the players, the women athletes that are going to play here. But at the end of the day, it's really what you do with it, right? And the people that make it great. So I'm really proud that we have an opportunity to provide such a great situation, but we want to continue to have the same work ethic and determination and desire to improve as a team. And
so Lacey was great. She, we started working together again, and I've known her all her life. I've known her forever through her dad and playing for me and watching her play in high school and all those kinds of things. So really comfortable being here. She has the same values, probably even does everything I did, but even better. And and she mentioned it earlier, just about the work ethic. With the field we had, the facilities we had, it didn't matter. We just worked really hard. With these great facilities, it doesn't change a thing, nothing.
Coach, what was it like to bring him back, and how important was that to you?
Well, like I mentioned, being a player that played for Mark and having just incredible experience here and how much growth I had. I had never been really coached like I was as an athlete when I was here. And so I know the impact he can have on athletes and players, but like Mark is a legend in the softball world. He's been a National Hall of Fame inductee in our Coaches Association, in the national level, the state level, and including the local level. So to not have him involved would never be an option because he just, like he said, he has so much knowledge and experience that he can continue to give. I always tell teams that we have, Mark isn't just, a softball guru. He is a competitive person and looking for any opportunity he can to find a way to inspire or motivate or, provide the knowledge to make somebody better in anything that they do. And that, to me, is the most valuable thing to have around in life. He's coached championships in golf and track and field and football and softball. So, obviously having him involved in the program is a blessing, and it's just been something that is invaluable, not just to me, but the girls that have come through the program. So.
And what would you say each of you have learned from each other in coaching over your time working together, and when you coached her as a player, and just working together overall? What have you learned from each other?
Yeah, it's what I've learned from her, though, I would say is way back when I first started with her, I came down, and it was a pretty hot day. You probably don't remember it, but I was wearing flip-flops. And Lacey's, especially back in the day, was a little differential because, towards me, because I'm, older, and looked at me like a little differently than she probably does after being used to me. So she looked down at my feet and she goes, "You're kidding, right?" And she wasn't kidding when she said it. And I go, "I'll be right back." So it's just her professionalism is, it's tops. She's just, she never wavers. She doesn't ever lower standards. That's what I mean. She's just created new standards, higher standards, better standards, has adapted to the times real successfully. So I like watching a lot of it, and also when she's coaching, I'll hear a lot of things out of her mouth, that on different situations, and I usually just be nodding like, yeah, I mean, you're nailing it. In my opinion, you're nailing it perfectly. Should be said, what should be said, what should be left out, and all that kind of stuff. So she's a great coach now. Her experience and her dedication and her hard work, I mean, she's the best. I don't know of a better coach in the sport, in the state, on this campus. There's nobody better.
I'm sure you've learned a lot from Coach Mark. What are some of those things that you've taken away from him?
Yeah, obviously, this was my first experience coaching, so really he's been a mentor in the game and how to be a head coach and, hold a program and organize that. So all of those things. But since he told that story about the flip-flops, I guess what I would say is something that a character trait for me is that I like things really organized, and I like kind of type A that way. I really like things to be laid out and drawn out a certain way, and he's more of a type B, laid back and wearing the flip-flops, and he's really good at adjusting and adapting, and I think that the two things put together has been so great for me because we have a lot of conversations, over the phone or, lunch or dinner, and talk a lot of ball, and being able to put those conversations into an organized, fashion for practice or ed planning or, workshops, film meetings, stuff like that, I think has been the best complement between both of us. And he's really helped me be able to understand that not everybody is the same. In coaching, the most fun thing is that everyone's different, and finding ways to reach all of the athletes differently so that you get the most out of them, I think is the best asset of a coach. And that's something that I've really, really learned from Mark's ability to reach a lot of different players in our program, but like I mentioned, in all different sports, and have success with it. So that to me is the most valuable thing.
When a program is so successful and they continue to just win conference titles or state titles, a lot of them, they'll be kind of comfortable in that success. How are you guys able to stay motivated to continue to be successful?
$1 million question.
Well,
that's a great question.
I think a lot of it has to do with the way you are. I've never had any problem being motivated, and I've been doing it for 47 years. Our experience is really good that way, and we try to never lose to people we shouldn't lose to. And on any given day, we want to have our top effort. And a lot of times, even if we do win and we still see several mistakes, we know it'll be costly later. It's not perfectly 100% celebrating, it's great. You always want to win, but we're always looking down the line too.
I think Mark and I always have the same philosophy, like you can never take anything for granted, not just in this sport, but in life. And so I think people constantly ask us every year, like, so how are you guys going to be this year? You know, you're going to win this and that, and almost like it's expected. And I think we go into every year not expecting that. You know, every single season, every team is new. And we never want anybody to not get the maximum benefit out of their time here and this opportunity. So we're that motivated to want to uphold the standard and the tradition of the program. You know, it's really, really special to me and important to me that, you know, what Mark established and created, and the success of this program continues on because I was benefiting from my time here as a player, and I want to keep that going for many, many years beyond Mark's tenure and mine as a coach, so that people continue to get the same benefits that we once did as players. And that's really hard to do. It's really, really hard to hold people to a standard day in and day out, or motivate people even when things start to feel like they should just fall into place or you should win a game. Anybody can beat you on any day, and we just look at it as like, you earn everything. You got to work hard for it, and that's really obvious, I think, in our players and the culture of our team. You know, that we just never let off. We're like relentless about it, whatever the situation or the day. And if you give your best effort, you know, you can't feel bad about it at the end of the day because you're always giving that maximum effort. So,
well, that's all I got for today. Thank you guys both so much for doing this. Mark Eldridge, Lacey Kraft, and I'm Connor Larson. Thank you guys so much for doing this today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Connor.
Thanks, Connor.